Hello, I'm Duck, the Enlightened One, and I'm here for another episode of Wrestling with the Paranormal. And today you're going to hear all about the Burning Man of Brazil. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wrestling with the Paranormal. And I am one of your hosts. I'm that gingered up, bubbly, paranormal son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
Yes, always. I always love that intro, by the way. And obviously, I am Liam Wakelin, the magician of the paranormal.
How's your week been?
It's been absolutely hectic. Obviously, work's been really busy. How's your week been?
It's been crazy. All sorts of stuff is going on. So we got an interesting show today. As always, we are the only paranormal show that is made by wrestling fans for wrestling fans, and we have a bit of the wrestling in here and all that. So we're gonna talk to our friend Ledesabel. Come on in, George.
Hello
hey,
there,
George. How you doing?
Oh, good. How are y'all?
Very well. How are you?
So, George, as you know, we started a new segment, and you get to be in the part of the segment. It's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so here's the new segment. So what's going on in the effing galaxy right now? And we got some crazy stuff going on. I don't know if you know, but we are about to go LLC. If you don't know what that is, that's License Liability Company. And that means that we are going on up and we're climbing on up. And big surprise coming on the podcast, the All Effin' Wrestling Show this Sunday. We have Buff Bagwell on the show. And also, we're going to reveal to you who it is that Effin' Wrestling has signed.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Ooh, might I add, have y'all seen Buff's recent photo?
Yes, he looks absolutely in great shape.
Yeah, he looks really great. If you haven't seen Buff's recent photo, that's all over the internet.
Mr. Rogers one. I don't know what's going on with that. So are we going to get the Mr. Rogers version of Buff Bagwell this Sunday?
Who knows?
Brent Barr says, Buff Daddy. So we had a comment by CM Punk at the Comic-Con. Liam, why don't you go into this?
Yeah, so obviously he was at Comic-Con and he got asked a question, and there were 2 points which obviously I'd like to get your guys' opinion on it, which was he was talking about structure and the culture in WWE. What do you guys think? Do you think it'll change now with Vince not being there?
Go ahead, George.
Well, if we're looking at change, yes, I am saying like there will be a little change now. It's not going to change overnight, obviously. Hopefully, people know that, but it's not going to change overnight. And honestly, with Triple H more partially in control like he used to, and Stephanie, they're just going to have to figure out what to do with their product that they still have and how they can slowly go forward changing it. Now, do I think it's going to change drastically? No. Is it going to look more like, I don't know, AEW next week, for example, or something on this coming Monday? Likely not. There's like a 99% possibility no. I will not see that.
But also,
But
he said, CM Punk said something about Naomi and Sasha in that little blurb.
Yes, so obviously you mentioned that obviously Naomi and Sasha walked out. Michael Cole said on SmackDown saying that they let the company down and stuff. But yet when Brock does the same thing, nothing was said. Is this kind of like faces got to fit in WWE, kind of?
Well, I just think
hmm,
Vince made the call where I'm mad as hell at those two. And he knows that Brock has him by the balls. And he also, they made the call on CM Punk because CM Punk laid his line in the sand. And, Vince doesn't like that.
Yeah. I mean, fair
from what I
comment.
heard from what CM Punk said, I felt like there was kind of like a little bit of a point where he was being like highly critical, and then he kind of went up a little to like harsh, to where I don't think he would be happy like if WWE was a thing until they were actually dead in the ground and long gone.
So wait a
But
second. I want to ask you, George, do you think that he came across as bitter?
I'd say a little, yeah, a little,
What
maybe
do
a
you
little
think,
more.
Liam?
There we go.
I kind of agree. I think it was a little bit harsh, but I also think he spoke a lot of sense with what you obviously said.
Well, that's the thing when you say something that's full of truth. It's going to rub people the wrong way because the truth hurts. And I think, he's not going to fluff anything up. Why would he? So I think that's just who he is. I think he actually got a lot of that from Bret Hart because Bret Hart just comes out and says what he's feeling, and I think that's one of the things CM Punk likes about Bret.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's probably the best thing as well. I mean, say what you feel. Do you know what I mean? Don't hold anything back. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably I think that's the problem with some people these days, that you can be too truthful and they do like get a bit touchy with it, so to speak.
So
Yeah,
getting
I
back
totally
to
agree.
getting back to you got your show tomorrow night, the Magic of Wrestling.
That is correct. That will be at 6 p.m. UK time, which I do believe that's 1 Eastern. I'm not quite sure what it is in your time, Canada Dry.
So who do you got on the show?
I have got the one and only, the FSGP GM himself, Benji, and I am super excited to be speaking to him.
Yeah,
It's the
this
last.
is a good one.
Yes, absolutely. This is the last show for Predictions League month, and yeah, I'm excited to see. Obviously, get to know him.
So, getting back to the show on Sunday, the All Left in Wrestling show, who do you guys think that we signed? You know, one last chance to guess who we signed.
I'm sticking with Angelina Love. I'm just going to point that out.
Well, I guess I'll stick with my choices too. You have somehow gotten us Kelly, and we've also pulled the heist of the century by getting Simon Miller.
We got Simon Miller. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. This person, they're recording a video for me, and they will reveal themselves on the All Left in Wrestling show this Sunday, 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern.
Sweet.
So this brings us to our next segment. Are you ready for this? Where is the next segment? It's hiding. Here it is. It's Bull or Truth.
Oh dear. I can.
Can I take our truth? Can I just take our truth? I feel like he'd be more fun to hang out than a bull. You know.
Well, you know what? We have to pick the bowl or we got to pick our truth when you tell us the story. So,
I think it better to hang out with our truth in a bowl.
well, you better
Tell the
tell us the
truth.
true story then.
Okay, well, so this story comes from all the way down in LA. And so these two little children, they grew up together because they're brother and sister, Billy and Carrie. And for most of their child life and then adolescent and then adult life, early adult life though, um, they always had this, excuse me, paranormal or kind of buddy of theirs that they could see. And he was kind of like not necessarily a ghost. They kind of described him as like a kind of like a more of a poltergeist essence that only they could see. But anytime, for example, let's say the parents were going to look for, they were about to make supper and randomly some sugar was missing, and when their mom would ask Billy and Carrie, their children, about were you guys in the kitchen or what happened, or did you guys take the sugar? They're like, no, it was our friend, our ghost friend. And that was the only time reports that anyone else besides Billy and Carrie um, tried to get them to believe that he was actually real. But they could only see him, and the only reports anyone else could have seen was stuff missing, and not just food or everyday items. Even the neighbors were having some things just misplaced or missing. But anytime they would ask these two little kids about it, they would always say it is their little poltergeist friend. But once again, they couldn't see him and they didn't really believe it. But yet, these things weren't being misplaced or missing. And so, fast forward, it kind of happens and keeps happening, and nothing too much bad is going on. And these incidents kind of stop where they're in their late teen, adolescent, early, kind of like early college day years of when they move out or move to a different place, and then it just completely stops.
So is the story over?
Yeah, it's over.
Okay, so from now on, when the story's over, I want you to do this. Jazz
What?
hands. Jazz, they got to do it with both hands. Jazz hands.
Both hands.
That's how we
Here.
know it's over. So you got
There's
the jazz
one.
hands. All right. So, Liam,
There's
what do you
two.
think? Or do you
I
want
could
me to
give you
go
5.
first?
I will let you go first on this one.
Oh. Well, my thoughts are he's not going too over the top with this. He's not trying really hard to impress us with some Scooby Doo antics. So I'm going to say this is an R truth.
I'm going to have to agree. I think it's a truth as well. I think that there's not really gone over the board with it, as you mentioned there. There's bits in that story which is really believable. So, yeah, I'm going to say truth.
Well, ding, ding, ding. You are all true. This is true.
Yes.
Ooh, I almost knocked over my microphone. I'm so excited. I almost knocked over my microphone.
See how much truth I just gave him?
I know,
He's
you're
almost
like
knocking
bursting
stuff
with
over.
truth. Got me excited.
You're not going to come through the screen, are you? Like The Ring?
I might.
Or whatever that one movie
I
was?
might.
The Ring, you were right.
It was
Oh, yeah, The Ring. Please don't. I'm moving you back.
Anyways, we have the rest of our show to do. So we will see you next week.
See you next week, George.
Alrighty.
We
Have
look
fun.
forward
See y'all
to-
next week.
We look forward to more spider tales from you.
Always. Oh, we got to bring the Scooby snacks, too.
I got to bring the Scooby snacks. See you later.
Alrighty.
Sounds good.
Peace.
I am still giggling at that image, by the way.
Which one?
The goat and no, the bull and the R-Truth one.
Let's soul or truth.
That is
See,
really
that's just how
cheesy.
my mind works.
It's really good, really good. Should be impressed.
So, what do you think? Do we need some sort of intro when we go to the main event? Do maybe we want to do that in the future? Quick little
Yeah,
intro.
yeah. I think it like spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get something going here in the next week or so. So let's go right into it. So this is the tale of the Burning Man of Brazil. Um, so August 1962, the family uh, Diamantinos. They all got some crazy names here. The Diamantinos, and they were woken by a strange noise outside. And so the father, Ravelino Mat de Silva, they got some crazy names. And so he went out to investigate, and all of a sudden he was enveloped by a strange yellow mist. And his kids were watching him, and this strange black object shooting this mist onto him. And you saw the kids watched on in horror as their dad struggled in this mist. And eventually, the mist, their father, and the black object all disappeared, never to be seen again. Um, so the reason we start with this is because it's the closest thing in Brazil to what our actual story is.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that's quite like it, and this is the closest thing to it. So we're going to go back 30 years earlier, 35 years earlier, to a southeastern uh, town in Brazil. Can you say the name of that town?
I cannot even. I'm not even going to try.
I can't either. So I can figure it out. It's in the southeast country of Brazil, and this happened on the evening of March 4th, 1946.
Yep.
So what's going on in this town at that time is we have a festival that's going on, and everyone is just celebrating. And they're all on the streets. They got a carnival, all sorts of fun things going on. But um, the one guy who's not going, and I'm going to try and butcher his name here. Where we got here? It's like Joho.
Jow.
Joho. I don't know. You go. Can you want to say it?
Jow.
Jao.
Yeah.
Let's just call his name Jao. Okay. We're not going to say his last name. So Jao, he went fishing with his friends, and uh, he decided to start early. He knew his family was going to be at the festival, and so they had a good time down at the river, and he caught a buttload of fish. How many fish are in a buttload, Liam?
Loads, plenty.
Plenty? There's more than five?
Yes, more than 5.
About five is buttload? Okay.
Yeah.
So any less than five is not a buttload, just so you
No.
know. So I guess they've probably been drinking a few beers down there at the
Yeah.
river, because you're not going to just going to fish and not have a good time, right? So they're probably drinking some beer, having a good time at the river, and it was starting to get dark. So Jaho, he decided, okay, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to head home, have a good time, be safe. So he eventually makes it back to his house, and his family is still at the carnival. So He goes to the front door, and the front door is locked. He's a little annoyed, but he
Yeah.
knows that the window is a little bit squeaky, and you can open it if you pry it a little bit, and you can sneak in. So he's fine with that. He goes through the window, and he's in the house, and he's about to start boiling the fish, and he's going to even have a hot bath.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets the odd feeling, and you've had it just like I've had it,
Yep.
that something is watching you. You've had that feeling, right, Liam?
I have.
Now, what do you usually do when you have that feeling?
But I think like your adrenaline like kicks in a little bit. You're like panicking. You don't even look back there. It's really hard to explain
Yeah,
until
you
you're.
get to feel that anxiety coming in as well.
Yeah, I think once you're in that, it's unless you're in that moment, you can't really describe how you actually feel.
Right. So Joho, he noticed right away that his attention was drawing him to the window where he just came through, and he noticed in the sky there was a bright light shining. And as soon as he came to the window and looked up at this bright light, all of a sudden a beam hit him, like a light beam, but it was all encompassing. And he noticed that his hands were starting to burn, and he could feel his hair smolder, and he was in incredible pain. And he started screaming at the top of his lungs, and the whole cabin, or not the cabin, the whole house was lit up because of this beam, and he was in incredible pain. Eventually, the light turned off. The house went to normal, but he was there, and he was still in pain, and and the pain was getting worse and worse, and he knew he couldn't just stay on the floor because he was going to die. So he had to muster all his strength to get up, and he realized that his arms were covered in blisters, and he just realized that he was very badly burnt.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to go to the door to open it, but his hands aren't working. They're paralyzed, and they're incredibly burnt as well. So he can't open it with his hands. They're useless. So he uses his mouth to open the door and get outside. And as he's walking, he starts to notice that there's wet underneath his feet.
Yep.
And he turns around and he notices that there's blood coming from his feet, and his feet are kind of decomposing. And some of the authorities, they eventually see him, and they take him to his sister's house, and they call the paramedics, and the paramedics thought he was a corpse at first. When they saw him talking, they
Yeah.
realized he wasn't, and uh, then they got him to the hospital. And while they're at the hospital, he starts to decay even more. Parts of him are falling off. He's got skin that's falling off. The odd thing is that it never affected his clothes at all.
No, that's the most confusing part with this story, as you mentioned there. Everything else was like you could say melting, but when it comes to his clothes, it was just not even affected at all.
So yeah, he's essentially dying, and all sorts of them are falling off. Parts of his skin. The nurses and the doctors, whenever they're near him, they have to go around the corner to gag because part of him just falls off in front of him, like part of his face. His bones are showing through the muscle, and uh, I think this is a good case for euthanasia. If you ask me, like, holy man,
Yeah,
like they should have put him out of his misery.
yeah, absolutely. It's probably
The other thing that happened was it didn't affect his beard or his hair, even though as we said earlier, he could smell his hair smoldering.
Mm-hmm. It's really weird. I think it's like the live cells in his body, so to speak, it were affecting, nothing else.
It's like it was targeting it, right?
Yeah.
So are you saying that hair cells are dead?
I am. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but that's what I believe.
So once they come out of your body, they're dead.
Yes. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a scientist. I'm only guessing that's why they weren't affected.
Let's see if we can get George on this. George, can you tell us, look it up, are hair cells dead once they're outside of your body? Anyways, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you want to make the tag?
Make the tag. Oh, make the tag. There we
Yeah,
go.
man, yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. So, I'm going to pick it up where a patient in the hospital was able to describe basically Zhao's condition. A man who goes by the name of Alves said the following. He was able to speak, although he had trouble using his tongue. He was obviously very, very weak, but did not to be in extreme pain, which is kind of confusing when you think about it, because it started as though he had extreme pain, but now all of a sudden there's no pain whatsoever.
Well, I think this is what I think. I think his nerve endings died.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. So then
Like
he
the
also,
parts that caused pain, they were so burnt that they couldn't give any more pain.
yep, absolutely. And then he went on to say hands and face seem to have obviously caught the worst of it. I mean, the only thing I can imagine is where he's gone like that. Do you like to cover it up, so to speak?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. The hand had been burnt into twisted claws. Again, that kind of backs up where you said that he couldn't open the door. However, this is the interesting part. The reports of the skin falling off apparently appear to be false, according to Alves.
So who's
So
Albeth?
Alves was a patient, obviously in the hospital at the time, so obviously he was there. So, but yeah, the last thing he said was the reports of skin melting and it falling off appear to be false. So, what do you reckon to that bit?
But why would they make it up?
I don't think it's the case of making it up. I think it's where over time the story's got like, bits added to it and stuff.
Right. So then someone tells the story and it gets worse and worse. And
yeah, this is like the interesting
so
part.
so the correct story is most likely that he's just very badly burnt.
Yes, but again, like I said, obviously over time stories get stuff added, they get stuff taken out. By the time it reaches us, it's a completely different story. But yeah, that's the first obviously thing I had. Now, the cause of death for Zhao was listed as cardiac collapse as a result of generalized first and second degree burns, which again it kind of leads back to obviously what you obviously mentioned there with the big bright light. But now this is the confusing part with this. Now, 2 hours after obviously Zhao obviously sadly passed away, the police obviously examined obviously Zhao's house. They found no evidence of a fire or high heat. The windows had been broken and chairs overturned, but there was no residue of fire. This is really confusing me.
Yeah, like the windows got broken.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he even broke them himself in a fit of this light coming in on him, right?
Yeah, that is a possibility. And the last thing he says was the heat was concentrated solely on his upper body. So I kind of want to lead towards a theory, which obviously we'll get into later on. But I've got my idea of this, but we'll. So what? So probably first degree burns. That is true. Sorry, I was just reading the comment what George put.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. To this day, apparently it's unclear if the torch disappeared after obviously Zhao was struck with it. Obviously, the trauma. The man was so traumatized in such dreadful condition. The details are still unknown, so it's still people are saying he was badly burnt. There's obviously stories of obviously skin falling off. The issue as with this story, there's so many little things. It's kind of like hard to piece together, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So what's legend and what's truth?
Yeah. So I suppose we can. Who knows? It's one of them. And this is probably a big mystery. It is a really big mystery.
So George goes, was this light burning effect done by a solar flare? No, George. This was unidentified flying object that focused in on him. And what about the first story that we told with the mist?
That
Very similar, right?
yeah, but apparently Brazil's obviously known for obviously having unidentified flying objects. But the locals apparently had actually the name for the mysterious light, as they called it. And I'm going to butcher this, by the way, but we'll get it go.
That's all right. I butcher things too.
The mysterious lights were called boitas by the natives. Now, this is apparently believed to be malevolent spirits that pursue people out late at night. So, is this where this? It basically means like a serpent. Is it like targeted, George, for no reason whatsoever? Is this a possibility?
So it might not even be a UFO. This could be a spirit of some sort, a demonic spirit.
Yes, exactly. There's so many. The thing is with this specific story, there is so many theories about this. We could be here all night, listening to Joe discussing them. Oh, where's he gone? He's disappeared on me. We'll try and get him back on, guys. But yeah, so obviously I will continue the story the best I can without my co-host. So apparently, when Zhao was a young man, he apparently had a interaction with one of these boitas. Sorry, I was obviously continuing the story while you
That's fine.
disappeared. So yeah, I was just mentioning before you obviously disappeared was when Zhao was obviously younger. Apparently, he had an interaction with these boitas, or should we call them serpents, or should we call them the actual names?
Let's just call them spirits.
Right. Okay. So when Zhao was obviously younger, he apparently had a interaction with these spirits. In what it was described as a moon-shaped fireball came from high in the sky and rushed past him. It came so close he could feel the tremendous heat. And this is when he was younger. So
This kind of reminds me from Skinwalker Ranch, the blue meanies. Have you heard of those?
I have not, so you can enlighten
So
me on
the
this one.
Skinwalker Ranch, the blue meanies, they're balls of energy,
Mm-hmm.
and they go around killing animals on
Interesting.
the Skinwalker Ranch. So
So
it's
could
kind of
this,
similar.
yeah, absolutely. Could this be something similar to this? Do you reckon? It does seem a little bit like that.
It does to me when it's focused on people, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, he went on to say this particular area was well known for sightings of the lights, sometimes as many as 10 to 12 of them. So we're not just talking one light, we're talking anything from 10 to 12. So, wow, how haunted is this Brazil place?
Yeah, like the one thing I wonder is like, is there some sort of curse over Brazil that would invite this sort of presence there?
Yes, but obviously, after Zhao's death, his family did actually fully believe that they were cursed. But is it Brazil it's sent? Is it the family? I mean, we do not know, but there's so many theories when it comes to obviously this.
So he had a brother?
Yes, so the last thing I've got on this is a year after obviously Zhao's death, his brother Emiliano. I'm sorry if there's any
Emiliano. Let's call
yeah,
it Emiliano.
I'm sorry to any Brazilians if I butchered that, by the way. He also had a close encounter with the spirits. Apparently, he saw two of them colliding with each other in a unnecessary way. Where, and this is the interesting thing, the exact spot where Zhao was buried.
It's almost like they're messing with him.
Yes.
Like it's almost like they're like, yeah, we killed your brother, buddy. That's
Yeah.
almost,
Absolutely. I mean, but the thing is that when you look at the history with the Boitas, apparently they are known for being very mischievous. And I think that last comment there that there was around where he was obviously buried, it just kind of like, yeah, I kind of agree with that.
like to me, this is like one of the more out there sort of tales, right? But
Absolutely.
that's what this show is all about. It's from a wrestling fans' perspective, and his body wouldn't kind of. I think that you're right about his body not degenerating to the point that they said it was in the story. I think that was all kind of made up afterwards, after the fact, to make the legend stronger.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Obviously, with some legend stories, it will always obviously change over time. Parts might get added, parts might get removed, so you're never really going to get the full like story.
Well, you know what? I don't really think this needs any exaggerating at all. You have a beam of light burning the crap out of a guy. He doesn't need parts falling off of him to make this story any.
No.
Like, you burned to give him a 3rd-degree burn. That's bad enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm ready to just discuss the theories when it comes to this.
Yeah, let's discuss.
So, the first one is supernatural. So, aliens is obviously one. Do we see it being aliens with obviously what we've discussed?
Well, seeing as I don't believe in aliens, I'm more thinking it is something to do with spirits. I believe there's some grounds that people allow things to happen when you do invite certain things into your life. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's aliens.
Right. So the next one, apparently, is it an accident?
I don't think it's an accident.
No. As soon as I read this actual theory, I was straight away went, no, I don't think it's an accident at all, because the police obviously returned back to his house and there were no, except from a broken window, which you mentioned there, he might have just like.
What is Super Saiyan?
I've never even heard of that. George?
Is this a Dragon Ball Z thing? Is that what this is? I got a feeling it's a Dragon Ball Z thing. Expect me to know these stupid anime things, George.
So the next one is extraterrestrial. That's another one which was obviously a theory. Do we think it's extraterrestrial?
Well, isn't it the same as UFO?
Yes, it could be. It's the problem I've got with this story is like the fact that somebody who was obviously in the hospital said that his skin falling off was false. It's kind of like made me thinking, what parts of this story has been made up a little bit? And I'm not saying it to do anything. I'm just trying to like balance it out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but the theory I had, and sorry.
Well, we know that people get burnt.
Yeah.
So maybe he was embarrassed of how this happened to him.
Yeah.
And he could have very well made up the story to save face, even though he's dying.
Yeah, that is an interesting theory. But the last theory I've got, and this is my theory, I said radiation.
From what?
Okay, I wasn't prepared for the follow-up.
I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't prepared for that.
I think it is extraterrestrial, like the UFO thing. So I think that the light.
Well, yeah, the UFO have been known to shoot radiation. Now, when we say UFO, doesn't necessarily mean extraterrestrial, right? because we
No,
just
you
don't know
could.
what the unidentified flying object is.
Yeah, but I think the his body obviously took an effect to like a serious cause of radiation. That's the whole reason why his hair was still intact and stuff like that. But that's just my honest theory.
Well,
But
radiation is known to make your hair fall out.
is that is that only if you get too much though?
No, that's like the first thing that happens when you get chemotherapy, right?
Yes, that is true. Have you got any theories on this?
I think that it is. I'm gonna go with curses. Something to do with curses on this, because um, something is allowing these spirits or whatever they are to attack certain people. Um, Especially with our first story, we don't know anything else about that. It just disappeared. Um, where'd he go? George says it was radiation. Couldn't be living near a power plant or something or such.
Could be.
So
It's
I don't know.
it's a definitely an interesting story. This one. I mean, I've really enjoyed covering this one because it's like the theories are so out there. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, the it's just kind of it takes a strange turn from a fishing trip and a
Mm-hmm.
carnival to all of a sudden he's burnt to death.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think some of these parts are obviously, I won't say made up, but added in? Do you think some parts of it are?
Well, I don't know how it works, but I don't know how much you can even move if you're burnt like that.
Yeah, I imagine you being absolutely excruciating pain. I mean, but the fact it just affected his top for his body.
Yeah, and the fact that his hands were paralyzed, that's how burnt he was.
Mm-hmm. But yet his feet are obviously like, were they burnt really over melting? Because didn't we speak about the.
Yes, his feet were so decomposed. They were usually tough sort of feet with calluses on it, but they were so decomposed that as he's walking, blood was dripping off of them. That's leaving the pail behind.
Right.
But we'll leave it with the people watching. What do you think about this story? Um, Look it up for yourself. The
Yeah.
Burning Man of Brazil. Hit the Google and let us know in the comments what you think. Is this just a legend? Um, is it blown out of proportion, or is this just
A mystery.
a mystery? Is it something that aliens have done to let us know you be afraid of us?
Could be. Who knows? We'll let
Well,
the
because
we'll
you
let
also
the
look, this is happening not too far from Roswell, right?
yes, that is correct.
Like Roswell is New Mexico around this time. So,
But yeah, he did obviously mention that this area is known for obviously these mysterious sightings. So there's got to be a reason why they're actually, I won't say targeting, but why they're in this vicinity.
all right. So this brings us to the closing segment of our show, and it's one of my favorite ones because we like to teach children well. Teach your children well.
I
um,
can't I can't wait for this one.
Knowledge really is power. Is it knowledge power?
It's always power.
It is always power. So, to me, the knowledge power moment of this show is when your family wants to go on an outing and you decide, no, 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 I'm not going with you, my stupid family. I'm going to go out on my own and catch fish and drink with the boys. Now, kids, you always have a choice to go out on your own and do your own thing, or to do the right thing and have good quality family time.
So this is an interesting one because this actually stumbled me for a little bit, but the only thing I can come up with a little bit, and it does seem a little bit silly, kids, whether you see a shiny light, whether it's in the day or the night time, don't look into it.
Don't look into shining lights, kids.
Almost eating that thing
Knowledge
there.
really is power. So I think that almost wraps up our show.
Mm-hmm.
Get that music playing, that generic rock music that nobody plays but us. So as we say, we got the Magic of Wrestling tomorrow night. We
At a
got,
slightly earlier time.
which is,
It is 6 p.m. UK time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern.
that's all we need to know. 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we have I just had a brain fart. We have the All Effin' Wrestling Show, and we have Buff Daddy. We're gonna find out what he is dressed like. Is he dressed like Mr. Rogers, or is he dressed like the Buff Daddy that we know? We'll have to find out. And we also have
The special announcement.
the special announcement, the reveal. Who did Effin' Wrestling sign to be the face of the company as we go LLC? You'll have to wait right now. And as always, don't we have some shirts or something? Where can we get those?
You can head to prowrestlingtees.com/FM Wrestling. Buy yourself a shirt. Buy yourself a Magic of Wrestling. Buy yourself a Wrestling with a Paranormal shirt.
Yeah. And also, you can head to fnwrestling.com, check out those stories, click on some ads from our lovely partners, because that's going to give us a little bit of money. Just click one of the links at the bottom of the thing to like and subscribe. And remember, keep on wrestling with the paranormal. What the hell is the intro? Oh, there it goes.
And remember, have your
What
cat.
would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Let me out in, and I'll sing you a song. I will try not to sing out of key.
Remember, have your cat spayed or neutered. Help control the pet population.